Elden Ring is receiving an insane amount of hype right now, due to its drastic change to the Souls-like genre. So you want to see what all the hype is about, but you aren't experienced with Souls-like games. Can you still play? I went into Elden Ring not having a lot of experience with these type of games. And at first, it was kind of rough because I died a lot and I made a lot of mistakes. But hopefully I can give you some quick tips that I learned that'll help improve your Elden Ring experience. The first thing I'm going to mention is that leveling up is your best friend. So the way you level up in Elden Ring is you collect a resource called runes. The way you get runes is simply by playing the game, killing monsters, and killing bosses. Every time you collect a certain amount of runes, you can go to a site of grace and upgrade your character's stats. This will allow you to get more health, more stamina, and do more damage, which will make the game significantly easier. I know, I've seen the guy on YouTube too that doesn't level up his character at all, wears no armor, takes no damage against any of the bosses, and still beats the whole entire game. But this video is more targeted towards beginner players, so I think that leveling up your character is crucial because it makes the game more progressible and less punishing. So if you're having a significant amount of issues fighting a boss, I would highly recommend taking a step back, trying to go farm some mobs, get some runes, level up a little bit, and then come back and try again. Speaking of runes, another great thing I learned about 2 hours into the game was gold runes. Gold runes are consumables we get by exploring the world. The most general use for gold runes is to increase your rune resource count. Every time you activate a gold rune, you'll get more runes so that you can upgrade your character and make them stronger. However, upon death, if you do not activate the gold runes, you will not be losing any of the rune currency that's stored in them. So this is a great way to keep runes on you without having the chance of losing them, and then you can just activate them when you're in a pinch. Next up, I want to talk about modification of flask charges. When just starting off in Elden Ring, you're going to have two types of flasks. Firstly, you have the Flask of Crimson Tears. This is the red one. When activated, your character is going to heal up and get more HP. Additionally, you also have the blue flask, the Flask of Cerulean Tears. This will top up your FP pool. At the beginning of the game, you only have 4 charges. You have 3 of the red charges and 1 blue charge. Now, depending on your playstyle, you can actually change around how many blue and red charges you have. So if you don't want to use any of the FP, you could actually have 4 of the red ones so you heal entirely. Or if you're more interested in using more FP, you can have 2 red ones and 2 blue ones. The way you would do this is you have to go to the Site of Grace. Once you reach the Site of Grace, you want to select the flask option. This will allow you to allocate your flasks accordingly to how you want to play. For me, because I'm bad at the game, I just put all 4 into the HP so then I can heal more. Okay, next up, let's talk about fighting mechanics. The base mechanics of Elden Ring are still the same as most From Software games. However, they've added a few more additional mechanics so then you have more options in your gameplay. So generally speaking, you have 2 types of attacks and 2 types of defensive abilities for most weapons. If you're looking at a PlayStation controller, the R1 ability is going to do your light attack and your R2 ability is going to do your heavy attack. Generally speaking, L1 and L2 are going to be your defensive abilities if you are two-handing a sword or you have a shield. But if you're using a bow or dual wielding weapons, then it's going to be an attack. So if you're using a shield, your L1 ability is going to be a block and your L2 ability is going to be a parry. The thing about parries are they're extremely powerful in these types of games. For a parry, you essentially have to block the incoming attack at the perfect frame in order to stun your opponent. Now, the reason this is so powerful is because it can be done on regular enemies as well as bosses. One thing that does differ in Elden Ring compared to the other Souls-like games is that one parry does not always make them stagger. What this means is you might have to parry multiple times, especially on bosses, in order to stagger them. In addition, you are also able to do jump attacks. So the only other game that you could do this in was Sekiro. So in Dark Souls, you were not able to do jump attacks. But now if you simply jump and do a light attack or jump and do a heavy attack, you can do these great jump attack abilities that cover a large amount of range. The last thing I want to mention is that outside of parrying, the best way to stagger your opponent is to do a combination of light and heavy attacks. This way you have a really high chance of staggering your opponent. There's so many different weapons and playstyles in Elden Ring that there's not really one best, so really just play what you think is fun and try to make that strategy work. If you're still having trouble in the game, some additional tips that might help is that you can actually summon beasts to help you fight. So the most notable early game beasts that you can use is the wolves and the jelly. These are extremely helpful because they actually fight with you and they make fights much more easy. And especially when they taunt the enemies, you won't be taking damage, so you can do some nice charge attacks and hopefully get some staggers out of that. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and you learned something, and it's going to make your Elden Ring experience a little bit easier. If you did, please leave a comment below, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.